Still working. Time to go. Hey, Cliff. How's it going, buddy? You coming in to help? Yeah. You coming in to help me? Welcome to Northeast Ohio, and specifically Medina County and my Sharn. Yep, we're not out on the water today. I wanted to be out on the water today for my first time. It's the middle of March. I was fingers crossed. But naturally, Northeast Ohio, we got a cold, wet, dreary day. So I'm in my Sharn, and I'm going to do a review on my Brooklyn Kayak Company, PK13. The first thing you want to do when you unbox this thing, get an Allen wrench, get a Phillips head screwdriver, and go over every nut and bolt and tighten them down. Because all they did to this thing is hand tighten everything. You can go over every nut and bolt as soon as you get it and pretty much unscrew it. Take these two, tighten everything down. If you do not, by your second or third trip, things are going to start falling off. Guarantee it. It happened to me. Next thing I would recommend you do before you start adding stuff to it, go get yourself some duct tape. And just put some duct tape on the bottom of your kayak, like especially on in the bow, stern, sides, anywhere where you're going to get that contact with gravel, sand, rocks. It just adds a little more protection. They sell things. You can buy like plastic mats or something that you could stick up under there. Plastic, the extra plastic you could put up under there to add extra protection. Duct tape. I'm a firm believer. If you can't duck it. All right, now let's get into some things I like. This front compartment. I love this compartment. I have been in some pretty nasty storms. I've been out on Lake Erie. I've had waves crashing over the top of this thing. Never once have I had water get in here and damage any of my electrical equipment. All right, number 2, the pedal drive. This thing is a game changer. I love it. Solid. Built to last. That thing is a solid piece of equipment. One drawback, though. If you do happen to bust it, over $500 to replace it. A brand new trolling motor is only $200. So, yeah. You make the call. I love my pedal drive, but I got a trolling motor on order. There is plenty of room all over the top of this kayak to put additional rails. I've put them on the sides, I've added 2 additional ones up front, and I've added 2 rod holders in the back. The kayak does come with 2 rod holders behind the seat, one on each side, and one up here to the right. I do not use them for fishing. I basically use them as pole holders, maybe while I'm tying lines or something. When I'm fishing, I pretty much just use my rod holders. I do love this tray and cup holder in front of the seat. That tray has come in handy so many times. When you're looking for something, sinkers, hooks, line, tying something, just throw it in that tray and you're fine. The cup holder, I don't use it as a cup holder. I use it as a phone holder. The extra space back here behind the seat is great. I just got my milk crate with the rod holders and a live well, but as you can see, there's plenty of extra room back there. You could pretty much put a cooler back here if you wanted to. I do like the design of their rudder and how they do have the rudder basically just line up with flush with the bottom of the kayak. I think that's a great design. I like that. Now, along with what I said earlier about tightening every nut and bolt, that also goes for the rudder. These 2 bolts on the side of the rudder are basically what keeps locks the string in place. Those were not tight either. So over time, my cord has kind of worked its way out one side. I finally realized what was happening and was able to tighten everything down before I lost the cord, but I still do have to go in there and even everything out. There is another compartment right behind the seat. It's got the bag. Just basically, just goes right into the kayak. I don't really use it that much, to be honest with you. Pretty much when I'm fishing or out there, I have stuff sitting up on top of it. So I don't really use it that much, but you could. Plenty of scupper holes. You got 4 up front by your feet. You got 2 right underneath your seat. You got 2 back here in the back compartment, and there is even 1 in the front compartment if you would choose to use it as a live well or something like that. Again, I store all my electronic equipment in there. Steering control for the rudder. Again, I do like the rudder system on this, but make sure you tighten everything down. The seat in the kayak's okay. I wish it was raised up just a couple inches. If they could raise this seat up somehow just a couple inches, I think it would make a huge difference. Huge. And going back to what I was saying before, make sure you tighten every nut, bolt, and screw in that seat as well, because they're all loose too. Remember how I said things will start falling apart on you? It happened to me. That is what fell apart on me while I was out fishing on the water. Was not fun. There's a decent amount of foot space in there. When the pedal drive is down, I'm going to tell you right now, the pedals will aggravate the shit out of you sometimes. Again, though, I do have the trolling motor on order, so I'm hoping that I won't have that problem anymore. Now, probably the biggest pro about this kayak is the price. I believe about 3 years ago I paid around $1,200 for this. That's cheap for a big kayak. When you start looking at some of the high-end kayaks, you're talking like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. That's insane. Spending $5,000 on a kayak. Just go get a real boat. What the hell is wrong with you? All right, now for a couple cons. This thing is huge, and it's heavy. They've got handles on the side here, on each side. I guess thinking like you're just going to pick this thing up and walk it on down to the water. No way in hell you're doing that. It is way too heavy for you to carry by yourself. No way. I bought a trailer. I treat this thing just like a boat. Back it up into the water, push it out into the water, pull it up on when I'm done. I dock this thing just like a boat. It is too big to just be carrying around. No way in hell. Another con about this is you can't stand up in it. You can stand up in this, but you're going to be doing one of the. You're going to be surfing. You're going to be looking for your balance and making sure you're okay. Sitting down in the seat, perfectly stable. All right, now for just some things that I've added. You want to do some night fishing, you got to have that light on the bow there. I've got that wired up into my magic compartment with all my electrical equipment. My camera mount, I have basically right behind my pedal drive, just centered pretty much right in the middle of my kayak. I added a anchor trolley. Gotta have an anchor trolley in a kayak. That's huge. Of course, I've got my crate, my live well, and my rod holders off the back there. And again, I've added extra rod holders in the back on each side. You want to do that night fishing, you gotta have that light. So I got my night light set up right behind my seat there. All right, my light for night fishing, it's just a 50-watt parking lot light that you're supposed to hang up in a parking lot. I've covered it with wax paper just to dim it a little bit, because if I don't have the wax paper on there, it turns me into an albino. Basically, it's way too bright. So I had to put a bunch of wax paper on there to kind of dim the image. And again with this, I got that track up front. I just set it there, put it there, and boom. Lights me up. Now, probably one of my favorite things that I've come up with, my anchor. It's just a 20, 25 pound chain that I had laying around the Sharn here that I decided to tie up to a rope. Because I was getting sick and tired of having to buy a grappling anchor every couple weeks because it'd get stuck and I'd lose it. So I decided to give this a try. And happy to say, 2 years later, still holding me in place, still working good. Alright, that's it for me today. I hope this was a little helpful. If you're thinking about buying a kayak, I really don't think you can go wrong with getting a Brooklyn kayak, especially for the price. You're not going to beat the price. I'm sure I forgot some stuff. I'm sure I left some stuff out. If you have any questions, drop me a comment. I'll answer it. See you next time.